Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In this video I will have two subjects. Two topics. One, who owns you if you are in debt? So let's say you as a citizen or as a business or as a country are in debt, and how much of this debt is healthy and how much is not healthy, because that's a point beyond which you cannot repay it unless you do something out of the realm of reality. That's the first subject. I have here numbers, I have percentages, I have names. First, and the second one, Javier Milei, the pimp of Argentina. Why do I call him the pimp of Argentina? Because he's going to use Argentina as a lady of the night for the guys in charge of, or the wannabe in charge of this planet, and they are the buyers. His shock therapy, I was right, did not work yet. Why? Argentina is in official recession. Now you can say, well, it's needed because that's what shock therapy is. Well, during the shock therapy, the patient could die. Well, Milei won't die. So hold your horses. Let's start with the first article. Comes from Sputnik. And this is from yesterday. Sizing up G20 members' public debt. Who's ahead and who can't keep afloat? Now, what is the public debt? Let me read you the definition here, and I have a lot of numbers and names. Public debt is a percentage of the GDP. I will show you. Public debt, sometimes also referred to as government debt, represents the total outstanding debt, bonds and other securities of a country's government. It is often expressed as a ratio of gross domestic product, GDP. Public debt can be raised both externally, lenders from outside, and internally, where external debt is the debt owed to lenders outside, let's say some international banks, all right, outside the country, and internal debt represents the government's obligations to domestic lenders. Either way, some people lend you the money and you're going to give them back with interest. And who's paying? Supposedly the citizens' taxes, revenues, right? So that is, I produce this, so my income is this, I go to work, I have a salary, and how much of this I owe? Now let's say I have $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year. Now, if I have a loan that represents about, let's say, 10% of that, so that's $10,000 that I have to pay back with interest. You know, with everything else, expenses that I have and all that, I could probably squeeze it and pay it easily. Now, if it's $50,000 with interest, it's much, much harder. How about 120%? That's $120,000 in debt for an annual income of $100,000. Now, that means you're in doo-doo. I don't think you will ever gonna be able to pay back that debt with interest. Now, I'm gonna continue the article, to read the article, because it has numbers and countries that are supposedly doing very well, and that makes you wonder. Doing very well, but being in shitty debt. And I'm talking about trillions of dollars. You know what a trillion of dollars? It's 1,000 billion dollars. That's what it is. 3 zeros added to a billion. And then you got to trillion. Got it? Got it? All right. So let's go to the article again. The G20, obviously the Russians are making this to show that BRICS countries are not as in debt as the capitalist countries, which are the so-called industrialized countries versus the emerging economies. Well, it seems like you have to be in doo-doo debt in order to be an industrialized country. I understand that sometimes, you need, revenue to build something, to buy something, and then from that you get some profit and pay it back. But when that gets too out of control, you can't pay it back. What do? And really what you're going to do, you send a few guys to the international bankers and you tell them, and they forgive the debt. As Biden forgives the college debt to some, not to others. Why? because he wants to be in charge, I guess. But he's like a god. But the United States was not going to go to, let's say, certain banks and tell, you know what, you're going to forgive me, right? No. Or how do you call it? I was about to say something. Let's move on. All right. G20 is an international forum that brings together the leaders of the world's 20 largest economies to discuss global economic issues, financial stability, and other pressing global challenges. Russia has managed to reduce the volume of public debt in dollars by 12%. Yeah, but if you were 3,000% over your GDP, then it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to give you the number, 2. So they reduced it to $285 billion. $285 billion. Now put it in the context of, let's say, the Americans and these guys giving Ukraine in 2 years more than $200 billion. All right? All right. And I'm going to have more numbers. And it says here, showing the best result among the G20 countries, Russia, according to Sputnik's calculations based on data from the national finance ministries. Now, I also have this from Focus Economics, that's a site right here, and I have the same information that these guys provide in Sputnik. Only 3 countries reduced their liabilities in dollar terms. That means 3 out of G20 reduced. That means they lowered their debt. In addition to Russia, Argentina reduced its national debt by 7% to $371 billion. You have to put that in the context of the economies. So you got $371 billion, let's say, but let's say your revenues are $100 billion. You obviously are in debt a few hundred times. And Japan by 4% to 9.1 trillion. In terms of public debt, South Africa has the smallest amount with only $195 billion, followed by Turkey with $260 billion, Saudi Arabia $284 billion, and Russia with $285 billion. Now, in 2023, Mexico experienced a nearly 30% increase in its public debt. Like that, making it the country with the highest debt in dollars terms among the world's largest economies. Meanwhile, the United States of America, the greatest country in the world, holds the largest debt among the G20 nations, standing at a staggering $34 trillion. You say, well, yeah, but our economy is about what? $50 trillion. So it's not a deficit right here. Hold your horses. Which accounts for 50.6% of the total debt within the group. So all those 20 G20 countries, 50% of the debt of those 20 countries is by one country. Sounds good for the bankers, for the lenders. Now, we have here the largest debtors in G20. G20 central government's public debt raised to a record 67 trillion. So first is the United States of America, which is 34 trillion. Second place is Japan with 9 trillion. United Kingdom 3.5 trillion. Italy 3 trillion. France 2.7 trillion. Germany 1.8 trillion. China 4.2 trillion. 4.2 trillion. So the Chinese economy and the American economy are almost the same as big, right? And China has 4 trillion in debt, and the United States of America has what? 34 trillion in debt. India 2 trillion, Brazil 1.66 trillion. And then Canada with what? 40 million people. Canada has 40 million people. The Americans have 330 million people. And Canada has 1 trillion in debt, and it's plus 8%. So it increased 8%. 8%. Russia, 280 million. So Russia has 145 million people, and it's 280 billion dollars. So that's about 4 times less than Canada, which has only 40 million. Saudi Arabia, South Korea has 874 billion, and Russia has 280 billion. Australia 589, so 600. Look at the population. Indonesia 500 billion. Indonesia, Mexico 684, Argentina 371, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, blah, 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 blah. This is their calculation here. And I'm going to go to the other one where you have, this is from, let me show you, Focus Economics right there, and you can find public debt. And you have a list. You go down here. Sorry, I have to work like this, like a baboon, but this is our situation. If you go down there, you're going to find the list with each and every country, its public debt according to versus the GDP. So I'm going to go for United States of America. First, Russia, and Romania is close by, right? Come on, right here. Poland, 49%, so 50%. Remember, $100,000 income, they got 50,000 per year. 50,000 is the loans. Romania, 47.5%, half of its revenue. Russia, 18%, right there. See that? 18%, and it's Romania, 18%, and it's Russia and Romania, 18. And then you have United States of America somewhere down there. I'm going to show you the staggering United Kingdom, right here, United Kingdom, 104%. That means $100,000 a year, $100,000 in debt. United States underneath, 122%, right there in debt. Now you can say, well, I don't care, man. If I live just great, it's fine. Oh, Zimbabwe has 100%. My friends in Zimbabwe are like the Americans, the same standard of living. The problem is this. Yeah, you can have a better life, let's put it this way, standard of living, but my question is this. Who owns you? I mean, you can eat like a pig, but you're in a cage, but not eat like a pig and be free. Which one would you pick? Well, I'm pretty sure some will pick to be fat pigs in a cage, and others like us would be free, slim, good-looking, strong guys everywhere we want. Well, Russia has 12%. United States have 120%. Which is which? Now that's the first topic. Second one. I said that Javier Milei, and so far it's proven, I was proven right, but it's not over until it's over. Remember Sylvester Stallone in the first movie, Rambo? When his coroner or whatever comes over there in that police station, and Stallone started crying over there, and he said, oh, I can't remember, John, I think it was John, it's over. And then John, it's not over. The same here. It's not over, but we have Milei. It's not over for Milei because he still has a lot of things to give to his guys who helped him get elected. I want all the best to the Argentinians. I want all the best to good people, or more good than bad. To the bad people, I wish them all what they deserve. You know exactly. I mean, you can feel what I would do. So, Javier Milei's shock therapy pushes Argentina into recession. These are very fast, the Telegraph, to call these guys a recession because they had a deficit for 2 months in a row. That is the definition of becoming a recession. But there were some other countries that had the same thing, and I said, Yellen. Remember Yellenstein? Yeah, our treasurer secretary. No, I know it's the definition, but it's more things that we should take into consideration. But here, no. Okay, so I said Milei is going to queue up because what's going on in Argentina and what he wants to do happened in Romania in the 1990s. When we were told as baboons, luminița de la capătul tunelului. That means eat less, don't do everything, do less, but listen more and be a slave more, because we have to go through this dark tunnel, the shock therapy, and after that it's going to be all honey and milk, or milk and honey. And generation was fucked. And it's great in Romania. Go and check it out. Yeah, right. Okay. 50% in debt. So when those guys say, I want my money, what the Romanians going to do? Send the military or what? Milei not gonna send shit. They don't have military, so they are under occupation anyway. So we have here Argentina, and they're saying these guys, oh, you have to hold on, you have to, take your, don't eat, don't do anything, don't consume. I mean, consume with money that nobody gives us, and we don't produce. And then what? After some time, we're gonna have great life. I hope, but to me it sounds exactly like that. And I'm gonna give you some more information on Mr. Milei. Argentina fell into recession during the first quarter of the year amid Javier Milei's push to overhaul the economy. To make an omelet, you need to break some eggs. I agree with that. But I'm afraid they're going to start breaking those eggs continuously, and the omelet is going to be eaten by Milei and his customers, the ones that pay so Argentina can be Drastic cuts to public spending led to Argentina's GDP falling by 2.6% from January to March, which came after a 2.5% drop in the final 3 months of 2023. This represents 2 successful quarters, not months, quarters, my bad, of negative growth, meeting the official definition of recession. Now, the title is Milei's shock therapy pushes Argentina into recession. That's a statement, positive, affirmative, whatever you want to call it. It's not like may, could, no, it's right there. But they didn't do the same thing with their economy, their interpretation. As a result of repeated bailouts, Argentina is far and away. Okay, let's see here. What do we have here? Harsh austerity measures led to Argentina's unemployment rate rising from 5.7% in the final quarter of 2023 to 7.7% in opening months of this year, the highest level since 2021. Foreign business love that. Why? Because they have a bigger labor pool. That means people will sell their labor for less. That's what it is. What do you think these guys? Do you think that they cannot be achieved full employment? It could be achieved, but they always want to have. What do you think I say? We should have. It's a healthy unemployment rate about 6%. Why is it 6%? Because you want that pool that they can fight. We can fight like baboons, like a little fish in the water when it throw a crumb, and we sell ourselves for less. When I came to the United States of America, if I went to, let's say, to the schools and I said, hey, I want to be a teacher, let's say, and I work not for $50,000 a year, I work for $30,000 a year. I'm as good as these guys, maybe even better, as better than some, worse than others, but nevertheless, I work half, let's say half. Do you think these guys from a business perspective would not fire all these guys and hire people like me? From a business perspective, of course, but hey, that's protectionism. Hey, I thought it was capitalism here. Bull fucking shit. Capitalism. Protectionism. All right, and the same thing with the medical American Medical Association. They determine through lobby how many positions are universities in the doctors. So they have one doctor in a city, he's a billionaire overnight. The same if you have one truck driver, licensed truck driver in a city, he's going to be a millionaire as well. But that's protection. That is fake competition. You limit the number, supply and demand, Easy, my friends. So consumer spending, that means people, how much they spend, also dropped 6.7%. That means they say, oh, we don't have money. Oh, I'm not going to buy you milk now. I'm going to, or maybe, all right, give you some. Sorry, fuck it, I don't care. Here it is. 6.7% a year, while investment collapsed by almost 25%. So investment said, oh my God, what's going on here? Now, what else is here? All right, it's something else I saw here. All right, this is it. Annually inflation in Argentina is currently at, please hold your horses, brace yourselves. The inflation is 276%. 276. Although the monthly rate of growth slowed to 4.2 percentage points between April and May. This was the 5th consecutive monthly slowdown and way below the 25% growth rate recorded in December. How do you like Milei now? How do you like me now? Huh? I hope he's doing the right thing, but I don't think so. Why? From the get-go, he's got the wrong masters, which he should not have any master. His masters should be only the Argentinian people, because he is the servant of the people. He's not in charge. He's over there because he's got the mandate of the people to make their life better, or at least, to defend their rights that he did not give, or the government. So my friends, who's in debt? Remember, those guys, the bankers are right there who own this and that. I know sometimes you need to make sacrifices, but you have always a choice. You have instant gratification, getting fat in a cage, or you postpone gratification and you're free along the way. Sustainable debt. Not 120%. No. And don't imagine, for people who've never been visited the United States of America, don't imagine that over there they're all with Cadillacs and Bentleys and whatever. No, they're poor freaking people. A lot of people, Romanians, said, I know, I would rather go back. And some of them go back from Canada, I know a lot of them, remigration, going back. Why? It's so bad. I'm not saying it's bad I obviously stay over there, not only because it's financially makes sense for me, but the culture. It's still good, the infrastructure, still good, different kind of people. Anyway, but we are all baboons because we go and vote. For whom they put in front of us to vote for. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.